Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Coming up this week, Disney's blockbuster Frozen is facing a copyright lawsuit. Southwest Airlines is bowing to pressure from animal rights activists, and it's ending its 26-year-long association with SeaWorld. And Disney's attempts at creating a standby plus queue at Soarin was not a big hit with some dizzers. Also, a little later on, Dustin and Corey will give you their top 5 tips for taking better photos and videos at the park. All that coming up next from the Bob Varley Studios in Orlando, Florida. This is the Diz Unplugged. This is the Diz Unplugged, episode number 727 for the week of August 5th, 2014. The Diz Unplugged is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Disney vacation. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show, coming to you live from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined at the table this week by my good friend, Sean Thompson, our producer, Dustin West, from the Disneyland edition of the Diz Unplugged, Tom Bell, Corey Martin. No qualifiers for Corey. It's just Corey.
That's fine. Just me.
And
Corey.
Back in the production, no call by his lonesome.
Aww.
Gregory Williams.
He's surrounded by equipment. He's okay.
I'll be good.
He's surrounded by cameras and equipment. John and Kevin couldn't be here this week. Actually, on the way up to the show, John got sick, so they had to turn around and go home. So everybody send out good thoughts to John that he feels better.
Yeah, I hope you feel better.
All right, housekeeping. I don't really have a lot in housekeeping.
What do you have?
I do want to remind everybody to download the Diz Unplugged app, available in the Apple App Store, the Google Play Store, and if you have a Kindle, it's in the Amazon App Store as well now.
Oh, right.
And just do a search on Diz Unplugged and download it. You get the shows, the videos, and all sorts of other stuff.
The Facebook feed, Twitter feed, and a lot of other cool stuff. You can, if we happen to have T-shirts for sale at the time, you'll be able to access our store.
Actually, right. And actually, I think we're going to be putting some of the some leftover T-shirts that
At
we
the
haven't
Welcome
sold.
Center, yeah.
Will go up there as well, and of course the new T-shirt, which Corey leaked to the audience that was watching on Friday night when we did an impromptu show to test out some equipment.
Yeah.
Which, go figure, people really.
I had no plan.
If I'd known you guys wanted that, I just would not have put all the work into this show. We just sit here and chat for a couple hours and with no direction.
Me and Corey would have a couple beers, and then we just go through bags in the closet and just see what's in the room and talk about whatever we're thinking about.
So for those who aren't aware, Friday night we went live for about 2 hours. There was some new equipment that we got in that needed to be tested before, as Craig checks it to make sure it's actually working right now.
I did that too.
We got some new equipment that we needed to test before we did the show this week. And hopefully as a result of that equipment, those who watch us on YouTube will be watching us in 1080 instead of 720.
Wow.
So very excited about that.
It comes at a trade-off. The files that are recording into that piece of equipment are so large. It takes me quite a while to render them down into a file size that is usable on YouTube. But it's worth it. It really is.
It really is. So, people just. I got so much great feedback.
It was kind of fun having beers during the show.
It was a lot of fun just kind of hanging out, and a lot of people are asking us to do it again, and we will, just not sure when, but we will do it again. I enjoyed it. I had a good time.
It was fun. It actually went by pretty fast. I mean,
what did you say about going through bags in the closet?
There's a bag in the closet that belonged to Bob, and we were kind of just going through some of his.
I think we were just unpacking things.
No, we just kind of just
putting
went
groceries away,
like going through Bob's stuff.
Yeah, okay.
That's where the grape soda behind him.
Oh, all right.
Now, for the people that didn't see it, it's on live stream still.
It's on live stream. Yep.
Right.
We didn't put it up on YouTube again because it wasn't like a regular show. It was just something we were testing out. But if you want to see it, it's like I can't imagine it's really that interesting, but people seem to enjoy it. So it's on live stream. We'll put a link to it in the show notes page, along with everything else we discuss in the show. DizUnplugged.com is where you can find that. And the other thing I want to talk about in housekeeping, our friends out in Arizona need your support. We have the Arizona meet coming up October 24th to 26th in Phoenix. And like all of our meets, this is to raise money for Give Kids the World. And this is the first year they're doing it out in Phoenix. And we really need support. And one of the things they're doing on this that I am very, very excited about is they're doing a bus trip. If they can get 30 people to sign up for it, they're doing a bus trip out to the Grand Canyon. And I'm going to bring the whole team that's coming out. I know like Dustin, Sean, Craig, Teresa, Kathy, Jenny Lynn. I don't know if you guys are coming out for the Arizona meet or not in October. Probably not because you don't show up for anything.
Oh, yeah, school's overrated.
Well, both parents need to be home at all times.
Finley is Ferris and Finley are actually going to school together now. So I'm sending Julie to the Indianapolis meet by herself, and we'll see how that goes.
No, Tom, you're coming out for Arizona.
Yes, definitely. Our whole team will be
the
there.
whole Disneyland team.
Yeah.
So if you want to travel to the Grand Canyon on a day trip,
what happens if we all get stuck in a jail cell? Can we use someone's belt to get out?
What?
It's a Brady Bunch reference.
Okay.
I was thinking more Captain Planet. By our powers combined, we're going to have the best podcast ever.
Okay, all of you shut up now. I don't know what you're talking about. Captain Planet and the Brady Bunch. Okay. Anyway, if you want to join the team out in Arizona, we'd love to have you, and I know they would love the support. So it's Phoenix, Arizona, October 24th through the 26th, and you should come. You should come to that because I said so.
Tom, how far away is that from Southern California?
5-6 hours maybe.
Driving?
Yeah,
That's a nice drive.
Yeah.
People should come to that. So anyway, Arizona 24th through 26th, Phoenix. Be there. I also want to remind everybody about the Dreams Unlimited Travel exclusive ABD departures, Adventures by Disney, for next year. With Kevin not here, I'm not sure exactly where we are. I know that reservations are coming in like crazy.
Yeah, they are.
I think the July trip is sold out or very close to being sold out, but you can always wait list for it. And then there's the December Backstage Magic next year as well, which is also selling pretty well. So if you're interested in joining us on any of those trips, email kevin@dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. And Kevin will give you the information and put you on a wait list. Anything else?
You had touched on the new shirts. We plan on launching them tomorrow for pre-sale.
Do we have the image to put up?
I don't
think so.
Not right on hand.
Just so you go to the homepage, disunplugged.com or www.info.com, and you'll see it there. Also, if you follow us on Facebook, we'll have stuff there. So
Awesome. Yes, Thomas?
Can I plug our show for this week?
No, you cannot.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So even though I'm on vacation here, we still have shows going up this week. Mary Jo and I finish up our Knott's Berry Farm 101 series with our special guest Wayne Toigo. And
Wayne,
yeah. So he stepped in for a couple of episodes to talk about Knott's Berry Farm, so it was kind of cool.
Cool.
Plus, we have Jody from Colorado returning for more help planning her summer vacation at the Disneyland Resort. And then since I'm on vacation, in place of our news show this week, we sit down and talk about our favorite Disney vacations. So
cool.
That's what's happening this week.
And that's Thursday, disunplugged.com. You can also subscribe to them on iTunes, and you should do that because I said so. That will be the tagline now for the show, because I said so. All right, anything else housekeeping-wise? I feel like I'm missing something, but if I think of it, I'll just jump back in. Also, in watching the videos, the things we sent in from Hawaii,
Yeah.
I am so self-conscious now about the fact that when I talk, apparently the hands are going a mile a minute. I guess I've always done it.
You're very interpretive dance right there.
It is very interpretive.
That was over the top, but you are very expressive in your
With the hand motions.
talk with your hands. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an
Italian thing.
It's a gay thing and an Italian thing. So I think bring those two things together, and we've got
Italian.
Italian.
I used to bust my brother about that too, because he does the same thing, not up in the air, but like on a table. He he has to separate things when he's talking. This, and that.
He's always angry.
He's very concerned about what he's talking about. He always uses his hands. I always bust him about that.
All right, we are going to move on to the poll results from last week. We asked you to rank your favorite restaurants at the Magic Kingdom, Disney's Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom. And here are the results. Your least favorite restaurant in the Magic Kingdom is a tie. What do you think it is? What do you think the least favorite restaurant in the Magic Kingdom is?
I would say Tony's. Is one of them, at least.
Pecos?
No, these were table service.
Oh, table service.
Excuse me.
Okay,
I think I have to agree with you.
Tony's
on
and
that.
Plaza.
Yeah.
It was a tie between Tony's Town Square Restaurant and the Plaza Restaurant. Each got 6.2% of the vote, only slightly behind Cinderella Royal Table with 7% of the vote. The top vote getter by a wide margin, and no big surprise here, Be Our Guest, getting 43% of the vote. Crystal Palace at 24%. Liberty Tree Tavern at 14%. So that was not a big surprise to me.
Be Our Guest is clearly the favorite right now.
Yeah.
Now, moving over to Hollywood Studios, your least favorite restaurant at Disney's Hollywood Studios, excuse me, Hollywood and Vine, a dismal 4%. Mama Melrose at 13%, and Sci-Fi Dine-In actually tied for second with Hollywood Brown Derby. How is that possible that Hollywood Brown Derby and 50s Primetime? We got those numbers wrong. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, Hollywood Brown Derby and Sci-Fi Dine-In both tied at 24%.
Yeah.
50s Primetime taking the top spot with 35%.
Wow.
And I think that's because it appeals more to families.
It's fun.
You know,
It's a different experience.
yeah.
I would say that it's more fun to go to 50s.
If you had to say what are the 5 top rated restaurants, you would clearly go with Brown Derby, I think, on the top of that list as far as maybe quality is concerned.
You changed it to best instead of favorite.
Yeah.
Well, I just putting Brown Derby and Sci-Fi Dine-In
at exactly the same.
in the same I don't get it personally, but hey, I respect your opinion. That's what you voted for, and we're just reporting what you said. At Animal Kingdom, Rainforest Cafe got no love from the audience at all. 16% said Animal Kingdom was Rainforest Cafe was their favorite. Tusker House beat out Yak and Yeti 47%. For Tusker House to 37% for Yak and Yeti, and I get that. Tusker House, definitely. I think is a great place to eat, and the character breakfast there is, I think, second only to Boma in terms of a buffet breakfast on site, and because they do have a lot of the.
There's actually a lot of crossover between Boma and Tusker House with some of those African flavors that they have,
which is what I was just going to say. You have some of that same kind of exotic African food. So, and every week we pick out one person at random who answered our poll and give that person a $50 Disney gift card. This week, our winner, Jackie Forshee. So congratulations, Jackie. I sent you a message on Facebook, but we're not friends, so it's probably in your other box. So you should be punished for not being friends with me on Facebook. But if you go check your email, you check your Facebook messages in your other box, then you'll have something there from me. And if you just get back to me, we'll send out your $50 Disney gift card. So there's that. And did I not come up with a poll for this week? I don't think I did.
Oh, you know what?
I'll come up with one. No, I didn't. Craig's nodding. He said no.
Okay.
All right. I will come up with one by the end of the show. I will come up with something.
They usually become very apparent to us by our discussions.
I would hope so.
I would hope so.
I'm hoping. But, all right, that's going to do it for housekeeping. We're going to move on to the news with Sean Apu.
All right. Well, John chose these stories, so I haven't read through them yet. So if there's something embarrassing, just forgive me. Our first story is Southwest Air, SeaWorld, and their partnership. Southwest Airlines Company and SeaWorld Entertainment are terminating their 26-year-old marketing relationship, the companies announced last Thursday. In a joint statement, both companies said they decided not to renew a promotional marketing partnership that began in 1988, citing shifting priorities. The partnership will end at the close of this year. Southwest was the park's official domestic airline partner, said SeaWorld spokesman.
They were domestic partners.
Very progressive in Florida. Spokesman Fred Jacobs said, images and logos for the parks were emblazoned on several Southwest planes, while SeaWorld promoted the carrier in its 3 parks. Southwest will continue to offer SeaWorld visits in its vacation packages, Mr. Jacobs said. Southwest planes that featured images of SeaWorld orcas will be repainted. Goodbye, orcas. Animal rights activists had pressured Southwest to end its relationship with SeaWorld, saying the carrier helped support animal cruelty. When asked whether this pressure contributed to the decision to terminate joint marketing, Southwest spokeswoman Marilee McInnes said it was strictly a business decision.
No, it wasn't.
Southwest and SeaWorld mutually determined that we wanted to redirect resources in other directions.
Yeah, no.
It's about Blackfish.
It's all about Blackfish. It's all about the controversy over SeaWorld. And, look, I just encourage people, if you bought Blackfish hook, line, and sinker, do some research, okay? There was a lot of, at the very least, disingenuous stuff in there. Some of it is downright dishonest. I'm not saying, again, I'm not weighing in on whether orcas in captivity are right or wrong, but I'm just saying that you got to look honestly at both sides of the issue. And if you think Blackfish is an honest representation of what's going on, you're wrong. It's not. Just do some research. Don't take my word for it. There's a lot out there. There's a lot out there, and not all of it is peddled by SeaWorld. There are other people, independent sites and organizations and individuals that are saying, hey, hold on a second, this isn't exactly the truth. And, there are people in that film that are representing themselves as scientists who aren't. They aren't scientists. They're animal rights activists, and this was a hit job. This was a hit job. And when you have, they shamefully traded on the death of Dawn Branchow, the trainer who was killed by Tillicum a few years ago. And so even her parents came out and said this wasn't right.
Yeah.
Her family came out and said this was not right, and that if Dawn were here, she would not support what you're doing. So get both sides of the picture here. SeaWorld's taken a big hit, though. There's no question it has been effective at really, it's taken a hit. SeaWorld's taken a PR hit, obviously. They didn't help themselves in that regard by not responding to any of this for almost 7 months. They've taken a hit at the turnstiles, no question about that. They reported their earnings for the first quarter were way down over the previous year. And now this. So this has had, say what you want about Blackfish, it's done its job. It was a hit job, and it has had a very, very strong impact on SeaWorld.
I don't think you can blame Southwest for this decision. I mean, whatever side they are on with the issue, or who's right, who's wrong.
They're a business. They gotta they gotta go with what they think. If it's going to be a PR nightmare for them, they've got to walk away from it. They've got to step back. I don't blame Southwest at all. I don't blame SeaWorld at all. This is just how it goes. And I would just encourage people, before you get too chest beating about SeaWorld and Blackfish, do your homework and get the whole story. Make your decision based on all the facts, not just some of the disingenuous elements that were included in Blackfish.
I do think it's a little surprising that it's happening now, because I feel like we're pretty much a good 4 or 6 months after the fact of this huge thing. And I know it's going to have a long-lasting impact. But don't you think if this was such an issue, they would have taken action earlier?
I think they just had to wait till the contract was done.
If that's what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not going to walk away in the middle of a contract like this. I mean, it wasn't like SeaWorld did something so egregious that...
Well, yeah.
So I think it was just a matter of...
They're just letting it fizzle.
Yeah, now that the opportunity's there, they're just going to step back.
It came from the heart, Isn't that like their slogan or something, Southwest?
I don't know. I felt like something I should have got, but I didn't get it.
Yeah.
I'll just stare at it.
I thought it was a Titanic reference.
Yeah.
That old lady dropped in the ocean at the end. Well, baby, I went down and got it for you. All right, should we move on to number 2?
Let's do that.
Okay. Disney World executive moving to Disneyland Paris. Tom Wolber, Senior Vice President of Walt Disney World Resort and Transportation Operations, has been named President of Euro Disney SAS, the management company of Disneyland Paris. Wolber oversaw all of the 28 resort hotels at Walt Disney World and the property's extensive transportation network. He had only been in that position for a few months. He was appointed in March as part of a shakeup of the hotel and transportation divisions. Wolber has also overseen a number of complex expansion projects, including the launch of Disney Dream and Disney Fantasy cruise ships. He was instrumental in the Disney Springs master plan and the continued growth of Walt Disney Parks and Resorts sports business. Wolber helped open Disneyland Paris in 1992. The appointment is effective in September. He is replacing Philippe Gass, who is moving to become general manager of Shanghai Disney Resort.
This is actually really good news for Disneyland Paris.
Yeah.
Tom Wolber is, I remember him mostly from his role at Disney Cruise Line. And this guy was amazing, especially with the Dream and the Fantasy launch.
Sounds like he's on a lot of opening teams.
Well, this is, Disney, when they find those guys, when they find those executives who are real good at startups, this is what happens with them. And they move up the chain real quick. I talk all the time about, the man who still has my heart. Oh God, I just forgot his name.
Josh.
Matt we met.
Oh,
Matt we met.
Yeah. He's doing great things over at Cedar Fair now.
Is he? He's an amazing guy. Yeah. He's an amazing guy. Matt we met was the same type of guy. He was actually their troubleshooter when they were having a problem. He went into DVC, he fixed DVC. He went over to Disney Cruise Line after the abysmal launch it had. He fixed Disney Cruise Line. After Paul Pressler pretty much decimated Disneyland, they sent him out there, and he turned that around and managed to do something very few GMs at Disneyland are able to do and get the support of the fans. They loved him out there. And then when he was denied the job at Disney World, which was rightfully his, he did understandably left the company. Tom Wolber is kind of in that same vein. He's one of those guys they send to, he's good with the startups. So, not that Disneyland Paris is a startup, but Disneyland Paris needs help. When we were out there a couple of years ago, there were things we were seeing that just don't happen at Disney parks.
In my mind, it's the Magic Kingdom park that they have there is completely fine. It's everything else.
Well, no, we went into those bathrooms. We were walking on the excrement of 1,000 Parisians. No, it was awful.
Chapter 1 of Tale of Two Cities.
It was just the worst of times.
And so there were things, and even in the hotels, how the hotels were run and things like that. So bringing somebody over there with this level of experience, with how things are done here, I think is going to be a very good thing. As long as they don't make the same mistakes they made when they launched this. When they launched Disneyland Paris, there was not a lot of consideration for that audience. They just kind of arrogantly brought American everything in there, and everybody knows how terrible the Euro Disney launch was. They're still recovering from it. So as long as they maintain their sensitivity to the audience that they have, and kind of bring some of the best practices, I think, from Disney World and Cruise Line over there, it's a very, very good thing. He's a good executive, and I think he'll do great things in Disneyland Paris. So I'm excited to see what he does. I've weighed in. Next.
Okay.
Anybody else?
I agree with you. I think Disneyland Paris definitely needs that.
Okay.
Great. I hope Philippe has a good time in Shanghai.
Shanghai, okay, let's just take a second to talk about Shanghai, though. That's going to be, from everything we're hearing, this is going to be massive. This whole complex they're building, that's going to be a challenge.
Yeah.
That's going to be a real challenge, Shanghai. I don't know that I will ever see Shanghai Disneyland.
I personally don't have a great desire to go to that portion of
really
the side of things.
You wouldn't want to go to China?
I think in a perfect world I would, but
since you don't live in that, your life is so miserable.
And this is just my opinion, but right now I don't think I would want to go to China.
I would go in a heartbeat.
I would love.
It's
I would
supposed to be
I'll
unbelievable.
I'll take you.
No,
You
it's
and I
going to be
will go.
fantastic.
You and I can go cover it.
Okay, good.
Just the,
You can stay
the
home.
blueprints they've released of the castle with the ride inside.
know.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So, all right.
Okay, number 3. Disney's Frozen facing a copyright infringement lawsuit.
I get so tired of these.
Yeah. I didn't choose it. So, according to the Hollywood
No, I'm
Reporter,
not of the story of these lawsuits.
all right. According to the Hollywood Reporter,
Way to throw John under the bus.
Oh, you said it. Animator Carrie Wilson is suing the Walt Disney Company over claims of copyright infringement. Wilson claims that similarities between her 2D computer animated her two.
Come on,
Why
Sean.
that's making me laugh?
Center. Focus.
Wilson claims that similarities between her 2D computer animated short, The Snowman, and a Frozen teaser trailer featuring Olaf the Snowman and Sven the reindeer chasing Olaf's carrot nose are more than just a passing resemblance. While Disney has tried to appeal, the claim is currently being upheld, having survived the first round of copyright lawsuit, and if not settled, could go to trial. In a ruling on Disney's motion to dismiss, California federal judge Vince Chabria writes, the sequence of events in both works from start to finish is too parallel to conclude that no reasonable juror could find the works substantially similar.
Okay, look, not being privy to all the details of the suit, does anybody else notice that every time Disney has a blockbuster, somebody comes out of the woodwork saying, oh, you stole my idea?
Yeah.
Now, I've watched both shorts. I
did too. I watched it this
the trailer
morning, yeah.
and I watched The Snowman. And while they share a few similarities, meaning there's a snowman who loses his nose on a frozen pond, that is about it.
And it's not like the idea is so incredibly original that no one else could have come up with it in isolation.
I just find it hard to believe, and this is just me, I find it hard to believe that after all the development that went into Frozen, all of that, and by the time the teaser trailer was being made, that they weren't able to come up with their own idea for, a snowman losing his nose and the reindeer trying to snatch it from him. I mean, that's not... I can't draw those same comparisons, I think.
You saw it?
Yeah, I saw it. I mean, there are the similarities of the snowman, going after his carrot nose and the what was it, like little?
They were rabbits.
Yeah, rabbits instead of the reindeer. But there was a little similarity between those two coming from opposite ends of the pond and wanting to get their hands on the carrot nose. But that was pretty much it. I can see where the creator of the 2D would think that they
Do you
took
really think that these animators at Pixar or at Disney sit there and scour the internet to steal other people's ideas?
I can't imagine.
I mean,
Well, I'll be honest. Neither of the two things are that original.
Exactly.
I mean, it's kind of just a cute story. I mean, it's kind of something that I think a lot of people could come up with. If it was something so uniquely original that is like, oh, there's no way 2 people could have come up with this on their own. It's kind of just like this vague, cute little narrative.
It's
not-
very like Looney Tunes or Tom and Jerry.
It also really reminds me of the teasers for Ice Age, and there's not that other person trying to grab it from them, but when the little squirrel's trying to get the acorn.
Right, exactly.
I mean, it's that same style of goofball shtick, so I think it's hard to...
and how much do you want to bet if Frozen hadn't made $1 billion at the box office, we wouldn't be talking about this? So, I don't know. But again, maybe they did. Maybe they did say, I don't know. I doubt it, though. I doubt it. Because every single time Disney has a hit film, every time, somebody comes out of the woodwork and says, oh, you stole my idea. I wrote this on a piece of toilet paper 30 years ago. You found my toilet paper and you stole my idea.
The animators do their research on YouTube before they put pen to paper. That's what they do.
The other
YouTube and
That's
do Google searches for.
That's how you win all those
Snowman.
Oscars.
The other thing about the 2D animated short, The Snowman, is that there's this whole story arc to it. He loses it. The rabbits want to snatch it and eat it, and then the snowman saves the rabbits, and they give it back as kind of like, okay, we don't want to steal this from you because you just saved our life. Whereas in the Frozen one, it's 1 minute instead of 4 minutes, and it's literally just they're going after the carrot, and then I don't know why the moose decides to give him the carrot back, but he does.
Well,
it makes no sense.
I'd be very interested to see what happens if Disney's going to let this go to trial, or if they're just going to say, here's a boatload of money, shut up.
That's my guess.
But usually they don't do that. If they know they're right, if they really feel they're right, then they defend themselves pretty vigorously. So, I was just surprised, when it made it past that first round with a federal judge. That's what kind of raised my eyebrow. Like, okay, I wonder, but I don't know. Doesn't smell right to me. So, is that it?
That's it. Yeah.
All right.
Thank
That'll
you, John.
do it for the news.
Sean.
That was successful.
Thank you, Sean John.
You're welcome.
What is it? Snoop Lion? I don't know. What is his name? P. Diddy?
Yeah,
They always
he
change
changed
his
it.
name.
Okay.
The artist formerly known as Squiggle.
Okay. All right. That's going to do it for the news. We're going to move on to our caption this from last week. We had a photo of Dustin inside a pineapple stand outside the Dole Plantation in Hawaii. Kelly Moran wrote, "There's always money in the banana stand," which is a reference to Arrested Development.
Yeah.
One of Dustin's favorite shows. So there's that.
I love that.
Mark Joe Friday came up with a meme, which I thought was hysterical. You've made it when you can call this work.
He's memeing everything, isn't he?
He's a meme machine. And Tom Ferlisi, this was my favorite. What do you call a glass hole in a pineapple? Because Dustin is wearing his Google Glass. And I just thought that was cute.
I just want to know the answer to that joke.
Now, for this week, instead of doing a caption this or where in the world, and I tried to find who it was, and if it was you, please let me know. One of our listeners a couple of months back suggested that we try something a little different that was more involved our listeners, those who do not watch the show on video but listen in this part of the show, and suggested that we take a brief clip of some Disney music and have people guess what it is from. And so we are going to do that. We're calling it Name the Tune because we can't say Name That Tune. And we're going to play a few seconds of a song from a Disney animated film. Could be Pixar, but it's definitely going to be one of those Disney Pixar animated films. And you have to guess the film and the song. Just head over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/DisUnplugged, and give us your guess. And here is your hint. That's what you get. A 2-second clip.
Can't even Shazam that.
That's the whole point. Well, you remember, anybody ever watch? You may be old enough to remember Name That Tune on television, where they
In
were
reruns.
I can name that tune in one note. Okay, you remember it in reruns. I remember it when it was actually like a show on television, and they would play one note on a piano keyboard, and they would guess.
I want to hear it again. Not like it'll make a difference for me.
Oh, great.
Oh, never mind. I'm throwing him a sorry, production nook. Okay.
That could be anything.
It's a tough one. Happens to be one of my favorite.
Ooh, there's
Here's a question. Is it originally from the Disney movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is from the sound. These will only be from the official soundtracks of Disney animated films. So it's not going to be like, Escape from Witch Mountain.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And it's not going to be like the Demi Lovato version of something.
No, this will be
The
from
Vanessa
the
Williams
film.
cover.
Yeah, this will be from the film. This is it's not an easy one. It's not an easy one. But I'll be very impressed if someone gets it. If you are a fan of this film the way I am, and if John were here, I'd almost be certain John would get it because it's one of John's favorite animated films as well. So there's the only hint I'm going to give you. So head out to our Facebook page, facebook.com/disunplugged, and tell us what you think it is. So there.
Cool.
So, all right. We are going to move on to rapid fire. Boy, we are going to have to spend a lot of time talking about the threads because we are 35 minutes into this show and we are on rapid fire already.
Should have taken longer to read those news stories.
You should have read slower.
I know.
All right, we're going to go ahead and start with you, Sean.
Okay. So DisneyStore.com is offering a Maelstrom T-shirt. So it's kind of it has the design of, so when you go up the lift hill, the Viking, the big bearded Viking with the eye that opens up, and then the light comes out of his eyeball. That is what the artwork is on the shirt.
Yeah.
That was the easiest way to describe that. And then it says the line that he says
In the voice.
No, I'm not going to do it in the voice. You are not the first to pass this way, nor shall you be the last. So basically,
Dustin, you do the voice.
You're not the first to pass this way. No, sure. What is it?
You're turning into Swedish Chef.
That's what he sounds like, though.
Yeah, it is.
He sounds kind of Swedish.
Yeah, it's very Slavic. Yeah. So anyway, it's this really cool shirt. It's only available from this week only. So from August 4th until August 7th. It's only 3 days. So you can pre-order. It's $24.95. The cool thing about it, too, is that in the dark, there's glow-in-the-dark design around the eyeball. So when you're in the dark, it looks as if you're in the attraction with the light
that's
coming
not
out.
creepy.
Yeah, the next one will be a hypercolor shirt, you know.
Like
Remember that?
Del Sol, or is that different?
What is hypercolor?
That was like in the 80s, right? Where you sweat
you
and
put
then
your hand on it, it turns a different color. Or like when you
or
sweat.
if you sweat a lot and then you can't hide it.
Constantly the other color.
Yeah. So a big rumor going around, and I have no. This is just a rumor, but and this has been going on for a while. But the
Collector's
talk
item?
is that they're going to be taking out Maelstrom. They're going to be putting it under, and maybe even turning it into a Frozen attraction.
So you think this shirt might be a last, like, here you go to the fans?
That's kind of the conversation that's going around. I hope that that's not true. I think a Maelstrom refurb is coming either way. Whether or not this is kind of like a goodbye memorial shirt. Which I think would be very sad. There's even talk that the date is as early as the end of September, the 27th or the 28th.
Maelstrom, the final tour.
Yeah, so that's just a rumor. But
Some people are starting to get upset. Norwegians are starting to get upset about these
Swedish
ideas that they're going to like just basically turn the entire Norway pavilion into a big Frozen attraction.
But then they're also mad at their own government because Norway hasn't put any money into updating the tourists. They haven't put any money into keeping things relevant. The movie's outdated. So they've had a really hands-off approach.
They're
So
only going to hire brunettes. Change that
they're
whole
just going to get all
pavilion
the workers from IKEA to come over to the pavilion.
I can't remember if I've said this on the show or not, but when I was a kid, you know when you're in the loading bay at Maelstrom and there's that mural on the back wall?
I love that mural, yeah.
And certain people are highlighted and they're much larger than everybody else. I thought one of two things when I was a child. Either there are gigantic people living in Norway, or like that was part of their mythology, was like there were these giant like oil rig workers that walked around.
And then there's just a giant woman with a clipboard.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. And yeah, I legitimately thought that for maybe
the
like
first,
2 years.
you were right with the first one. There are giant people living in Norway.
And one of the oil rig guys looks like Liam Neeson with a big beard. Did you ever notice that?
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah.
So, but anyway, if you like the shirt, order it. It's only until Friday, or Thursday actually, the 7th. So
You'll still have access to the big troll you can pose next to.
Yeah.
I hope they disinfect that nose. It's terrible.
Okay. Thank you, Sean. Dustin.
Yeah, I have some news that I first heard from Mrs. Nikki Mancini, but has since made its way on.
Has she gotten married?
Yeah.
Different blogs and whatnot. There's obviously and it's out now, the new Olaf-inspired Magic Band that's a limited time only, and it's only for purchase in the parks. It's retail only in the parks at the Frozen Summer Fun, the trading post, Yoo-hoo trading post. I forget.
Oaken.
Yeah, Oaken's trading.
Wondering Oaken String.
Yeah.
The Yoo-hoo trading post.
Only close.
The limited edition retail Magic Band will have an edition size of 5,000 and will have a retail of $29.95 plus tax. And this will join 3 open edition Magic Bands inspired by Disney's Frozen, which are currently offered in the same store. With all retail Magic Band purchases, guests must present one of the following for Magic Band to be linked, which is your Memory Maker card or another Magic Band or your admission.
Your ticket media, yeah.
Yeah. So they will not be offered on the online store, and again, you can only get them there at Disney Hollywood Studios.
I think there's a pretty big problem with this, and I understand that they're doing it this way, but when you buy these magic bands, you have to link them on the spot. So if I think when I was there the first week of Frozen, I wanted to go and buy one for my sister because she loves Frozen. So I wanted to buy a magic band for her.
That's right.
You can't buy them.
You can't get them as gifts.
But I think this is what they have to do to prevent these things from being sold on 192 to people saying, oh, there's a 7-day Magic Your Way ticket on this.
Yeah.
And so that they have to make sure that every band that goes, I know it was annoying to me too. I wanted to
because they're awesome, and if they're limited edition, it would be great to go buy one for, I wouldn't buy one for
you
myself.
actually have to link it right then
on the
there?
spot. You have to have your ticket.
So if you're buying them for yourself, it's no problem. Get as many as you want. No issue. Now, I'm not sure that if you buy one for yourself, link your ticket, are you able to take your ticket off and then give it to somebody else?
No, non-transferable.
Yeah, okay.
When does this, how long is this on sale for?
I think until they're gone.
Yeah, it's a limited edition size of 5,000. Again, they're $30 in the parks.
My wife texted me this morning, hey, you want that magic band? I'm like, excuse me, sorry. I'm like, no, I don't need it. But now I'm thinking back, I'm like,
Louis Armstrong.
Sorry.
Satchmo's here.
She's texting me, do you want that magic band? I'm like, no, it's kind of cute. I don't need it. But then thinking back, I'm like, she couldn't have got it anyway.
And then you see limited edition. I think that's like the buzzword. You throw limited edition on anything, it's like, okay, let me get it now.
Especially with Frozen merchandise.
Well, I love that they're doing this. Look, I have already magic bands in every color. I've got my magic band from the Mine Train press event. Mm-hmm. I would absolutely buy this. Absolutely buy it. Mm-hmm. I love that they're doing this. I do.
I think it's only a sign of things to come. I think they're going to be doing these for everything.
I think they should be.
Yeah. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should be. I think it's great marketing, and you know what? I mean, it's something else to collect.
And we'll have a limited edition Scandal magic band.
With Kerry Washington?
ABC will get on everything.
Oh, God forbid. Don't give them any ideas. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Dustin. Also, another blog Nikki just put up that I thought was really interesting was, oh, God, that was disturbing, seeing that picture of Tony. That I thought was really cool. Joffrey's has come out with more. Craig's. Oh, never mind. I'll wait for Craig. Sorry. Never mind. Tom, we'll move over to you.
All right. As if RunDisney doesn't collect enough of your money, the Tinkerbell Half Marathon has added a Pixie Dust Challenge medal for participants that participate in both the 10K and the Half Marathon.
And just so for our listeners that are not watching the show, we have a picture of Tony Spatel, who's part of the Disneyland team, wearing his Tinkerbell wings after doing the Tinkerbell Half Marathon out in California. Yep. And I know that the look on his face in the picture is, oh, dear God, please don't take my picture while I'm wearing Tinkerbell wings. And the look on his face when he sees this will be even more priceless.
Yes. And just additional information, next year the Tinkerbell Half Marathon moves to Mother's Day weekend. And that is May 7th through the 10th. Registration begins August 12th.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Mm-hmm. Corey Patrick.
We've updated the website with the new list of restaurants that participate in Tables in Wonderland. We've pretty much taken from the official site all those restaurants and put them on, kind of did a side-by-side comparison. The thing is, it's weird because we were at Downtown Disney this past weekend and we ate at Bongo's. It's not listed on this list as being a restaurant that participates in Tables in Wonderland, and they took it. So I don't know how many other restaurants are out there that actually accept it.
Well, which restaurants dropped off the list? Do you know?
Well, it's the one that really dropped off the list that we knew about was Victoria and Albert's.
Right.
I haven't done a side-by-side comparison of the old list and the new list, but even the updated list, I don't know. I
always felt that the presence of Victoria and Albert's on that list was a little odd. Here's this, the only place on Disney property where there is an actual dress code that's enforced. You have to be wearing, at the very least, a jacket. I don't think a tie is mandatory. But gentlemen have to be in a jacket and slacks. You can't go in there in jeans and a shirt. So I thought it was odd that they took a discount because mostly restaurants like that wouldn't.
Yeah, that's no big shock that they pulled that off. But it's just weird that we were eating there, and I had no idea that they took it. And I asked them, I said, do you take tables? They're like, yeah, we sure do. I'm like, okay.
This was bongos?
It's not on the list, bongos.
Even with the price increase, the recent price increase on tables in Wonderland and any shifting that they do with some of these restaurants, it's if you're an annual pass holder or a Florida resident, you're insane. If you eat at Disney 2 or 3 times a year, it's going to pay for itself. It's going to pay for itself. It is a fantastic program, and I give Disney kudos for not completely screwing it up. Now watch, I've said this, and
yeah, they're going to take alcohol off.
I was going to ask,
that would mess it up.
That's still offered on tables and Wonderland.
Yeah, it's 20% off food and alcohol. Wow. You can even go into like the bar at 50's Prime Time and just order drinks and use your tables in Wonderland to get you 20% off the drinks.
And there's other perks, right? As far as valet parking,
valet,
reduced price.
Valet is free if you're eating at the restaurant. You got to show a receipt along with your tables in Wonderland card. And then your valet is free.
Or drinking, and you're very nice to the valet girl.
Yes. I bought 1 beer, and I was able to get valet paid for. Using tables in Wonderland.
That's probably not what you're supposed to.
You still have to tip.
But
yes, you do tip.
Yes, you should tip them. Tip your valet as well. Tip your valets.
We also have the whole list of the 2015 participating Disney Dining Plan restaurants added to the site, too. So check those out.
Awesome. Thank you, Corey.
You want me to read them all off?
No, that's okay. Gregory.
So, as you started to say earlier, and now I will finish it.
Wow. Passive aggressive table.
Yes, exactly. Joffrey's started their coffee that was based on Disney restaurants a while back ago. I think it was about 6-7 months ago, whenever it originally came out, and they finally added new flavors onto it, and it's quite a bit. They have now a Tusker House, Wave, Hollywood Brown Derby, Citrico's, California Grill, Napa Rose, and Steakhouse 55 from California, Narcoossee's, and a Yachtsman blend. So they went from, I believe, 4 different coffees.
No, I think it was closer to 6 or 8.
6 or 8? Okay. But I mean, a significant increase in the amount, and a lot of them sound really good, and they changed it up more. I know they kind of stuck to a lot of dark blends, not a lot of like medium and light roasts, and so they're actually varying the different types of coffees they have now. And
I was surprised that also, I think all the signature restaurants have their own blend of coffee from Joffrey's, which I thought, okay, very, very good. This is after how many years of that Nescafe crap from concentrate. But I was surprised that you could only there were a limited number of one. I mean, I think you can get Boma, Gico. I know
Flying Fish was one.
Flying Fish, Carthay Circle.
Yep. Yeah.
French roast was like the kind they keep in the rooms, I believe.
I think the best part of these are the designed labels.
I know.
Done really beautiful artwork.
I think the best part of them is the coffee's actually good.
Yeah.
Labels.
That matters too.
They probably
Design first.
The label's so
Design
pretty.
first, taste later.
No,
because they could have easily just done a very generic kind of restaurant title or location title, but
They'll do a
very good
limited
job.
edition Magic Band.
I
will
think
buy it.
Yeah.
I think what we saw happen was that they were testing it out.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I have to say that kudos to Disney for changing up the coffee in the first place. Second, to Joffrey's for actually, look, it's not Kona, it's not the stuff that I brought back from Hawaii, which is, oh my God, so good. But that stuff's $30 a pound. So, you're talking about, it's still expensive, the Joffrey's. It's running about $12 to $14 a pound, depending on what you're getting. So that's not cheap by supermarket standards. But it is really good coffee. And there's a nice selection of it now, especially. I'm very excited about the California Grill one. A few months ago, took my mom there for dinner, and the coffee was spectacular. And I had gone onto Joffrey's website to see if they had the blend, and they didn't. So I'm really happy to see it see it now, but it was spectacular coffee. Very, very good.
Does anybody know if they're selling these in the stores and the locations, or is it just online?
I think it's just online. And I believe if you sign, I don't know if they're still doing it, but I believe if you sign up for their newsletter, they email you a code for 20% off your entire order. Huh? So you could, buy everything and get 20% off. So that's a nice deal. But I can absolutely tell you, I've tried all the ones that have been out so far, not these yet. And with the exception of a couple of the darker roasts, which I'm not a big dark roast guy, the coffee was excellent. It was very good. Certainly better than pretty much anything you're going to get in a supermarket.
I think on the next Diz After Dark, we should do like a blind coffee taste test with Pete. I think that'd be hilarious.
Oh, what? Throw some stuff. Want me to guess what blend it is?
Or just say which one's better.
Say which one, if you like it or not, and then we'll throw some Starbucks in there hidden.
Or Folgers. It'll be fun.
I dare you. I'll take that challenge. I will take the challenge.
I remember we did that when I was a kid. Do you remember the colored ketchups? Like when they had the purple and green ketchup? You have to remember those.
Yeah, I couldn't handle it.
No, I hated them. And
Sensory overload.
I said I couldn't eat them, and they tasted different. And my parents didn't believe me, so they did a taste test, and I got it right every time. They didn't taste like regular ketchup.
Yeah. I remember the Pepsi Coke challenge that they used to do. You get a little Pepsi card.
Well, I will absolutely take that challenge.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, that is going to do it for Rapid Fire. We are going to move on to the top 10 threads on Disboards.com for the month of July. Number 10, Wilderness Lodge Mess by Joe Cavalier. Number 9, the new Caribbean Beach Resort FAQ Part VII by Dan's Dad. If you have not been out to our resorts forum on Disboards to check out these FAQs for all the resorts, they're fantastic. I mean, they are as detailed as anything you'll find. Great, there's pictures, there's lots of information. If you want a great FAQ on any resort at Disney World, head out to our resorts board. And the reason that there's part 7 of these is because when a thread reaches 250 pages, we need to cut it off and start a new one. That's a database issue. So that's why you will see these with multiple parts like this. So that'll kind of give you an idea of how much interaction goes on these threads. That 250 pages, and I believe it's 10 posts to a page. So it's 2,500 posts, I believe. And this is on its 7th version now. So that'll give you an idea and a lot of great tips, people feeding back what their experiences were. So good thing to check out. Number 8, Soarin Standby Plus Test ... fail by Mad Hattard. This was posted on July 30th and still managed to be number 8. The number 8 thread for the month of July, and it was only up for a day. Only had one day in July to get traffic. So that's how many people hit this thread. And Mad Hattard writes, well, apparently it started today, meaning the test of Standby Plus at Soarin, which is basically kind of like, if we get this right, it's like a version of FastPass, more or less. It's
Isn't it like
you're reserving your place in line on the standby line?
Isn't it like how they do it in Dumbo in New Fantasyland, where they give you like a pager or something? Wasn't there? I heard something about that.
Yeah, it's like a combination of all those things. They basically gave you a piece of paper to come back, and then they close the standby line completely.
Well, this is what happened. Apparently it started today. I think the following comments from others on the boards sum up what happens when you pull this stunt on an actual ride.
Yeah.
Quote, it started and ended today. They issued cards until they ran out, which was around 5 o'clock. When they ran out and closed the standby line, not allowing anyone else to ride for the day, it got ugly. And the line was reopened by 5:30. Not sure if the test will continue tomorrow. Someone else wrote, from what I heard, it is a disaster now, as they still have people returning with their cards, plus they open the regular standby line, and it currently has a 3-hour wait. And then a response. It got ugly? What? You mean people were upset that they were not allowed to wait in any capacity for one of the most popular attractions in Walt Disney World and one of 2 headline attractions at Epcot? My goodness, who could ever have predicted such a result? It's not as if any of those guests turned away, spent upwards of $100 per person to be there, right? Still, who do these guests think they are, getting upset over being forbidden to ride a ride they have paid to have access to? Obviously being sarcastic.
Yeah.
But our friend, Mesa Boy 2, who often ends up on this top 10 list, and he does again this month, responds, quote, maybe Disney is finally finding the limits of how structured the average guest wants their vacation to be. And I think that is a good point to make.
Yeah.
But at the same time, at the risk of being the My Disney Experience apologist, because it seems like every time this issue comes up, anything comes up around structuring your vacation too much, I'm defending Disney, that I think it's a good idea. I think that as time goes on, I think they've made this better. I think they fixed things, and they're going to continue to tweak and adjust it. Disney's in a tough spot. People are, they're doing what they're supposed to do, and they're getting people inside the parks. They're a company. They make money doing this. They have shareholders. This is what they're supposed to do. Crowds drive me crazy too, but in reality, it's a business, and that's what's going to happen. They are trying to find new ways to manage the kind of crowds that they're facing. It's the reason they're doing this. In stark contrast to what I ranted about last week with Downtown Disney and the complete lack of thought that went into that whole situation when they started messing with the parking. This is just the opposite. This is Disney trying to come up with new ways. Disney leads the industry on this stuff. Nobody was doing FastPass before Disney. That was their idea. Nobody was doing this stuff. The RFID chips now, others, we're starting to see it show up other places now. Companies not even in the theme park realm starting to use the same kind of RFID technology to pay for things, get into your room. Disney is at the forefront of this stuff. So Disney is trying to invent ways to manage these standby lines. What are people bitching about? They're bitching about Anna and Elsa being a 5-hour wait. They're bitching about Soarin being a 2.5-hour wait. They're trying to find some new things. Cut them some slack. And that's coming from me. Okay, cut them some slack. Let's let them try this stuff. They've got to test some stuff out. Yeah, I'm sorry, people are on vacation and it may mess with your vacation. I understand that your life isn't going to end if you don't get to ride Soarin' the day you want to ride it. I would be upset too, but try and understand. This is them trying to do something to make it better, as opposed to not caring and doing what they're doing at Downtown Disney right now, where the parking is concerned. There are two very, very opposite situations. But what do you think, Sean?
I think I understand where Disney was coming from. I'm glad they're trying new things. It's nice to see that. Jen Stamey is in chat, and she was saying the exact same thing, that it's nice to see them trying to come up with new things. This was obviously a huge failure. And Disney knew that. I mean, even the cast members at the time were confused. They didn't know what was happening. It was just a big failure. So now they didn't do it again. I mean, it worked for some things, but it just failed completely for Soarin'. So I think they learned from it. They won't try it again. It doesn't work for this high-capacity ride.
Or maybe it's just back to the drawing board. Maybe there was just some elements, Look, this is Disney. These guys,
They're going to test their limits to see what they can do. I mean, I think this was just a test. I mean, unfortunately, people who didn't get to ride it,
They're trying to find a way to keep people from waiting 3 hours in line. And I just, I applaud them for that.
Mm-hmm. I get that they were doing that, but what ended up happening was they turned away people for the first time ever. I mean, yeah, they turn away people whenever it hits 9 o'clock and the ride's closed. And at that point, I understand that completely. But they were doing this hours and hours earlier because they already gave out all these cards that said, okay, well, we're going to have the max capacity in line from 5:30 to 6:30. So clearly there's no room. But at the end of the day, you still have to give people that option. And it's terrible for cast members. We always hated having to work an extra 45 minutes because the line was busier. But at the end of the day, that's little sacrifices you make to make people happy.
Right.
And I feel like that's what was taken away by trying that. But they'll figure something out that works.
It also puts a lot of pressure on the frontline cast members. I know just at Blizzard Beach, when the Summit Plummet line would get too long, we were required to send people down on like several people in a minute. And like you would actually get something if you sent over 100 people down, in a short amount of time. It's like, okay, get out, come down, get out, get out. But it becomes a lot of stress, but there's only so much you can do as a cast member to kind of keep that stuff moving, especially with Soarin. It's not a continuous ride.
And especially when you have something like this thrown at you last minute and you have no idea what to do.
No, look, I appreciate people's perspective. You're on vacation and you're not expecting this and this happens. I'd be upset too. So I'm not blaming them for that. I'm just asking people to think, kind of think beyond just that part of it and say, okay, at least they're trying to do something good here. They're trying to change the experience so that you're not waiting 3 hours in line. Yes, in this instance, that test failed, but, let's hope that they keep at it and, come up with something else new. Remember, FastPass revolutionized waiting in lines for rides. And all right, number 5 this month. I'm sorry, did I get that right?
7.
No, number 7 now. Thank you. No more standby line for Anna and Elsa from SES 1230. Is that true? They've done away with the standby line for Anna and Elsa?
This is related to the Soarin thing. So they actually debuted this with Anna and Elsa.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Sorry. And then
this is what I get for being away for a couple of weeks.
And so now what happened is they saw it kind of working for Anna and Elsa. So basically what happens is when you get there in the morning, they'll fill up the queue to however many they can hold reasonably, and then they'll start handing out these cards similar to what we just talked about for Soarin. But from what I understand, it's working fairly well there. And it's a different environment, though. It's not a bunch of people waiting to get on a ride. It's, you've got a return ticket to go get an autograph and pictures. So that's basically what's going on with that.
No, that one makes sense because they can only be out there for so many times during the day. With attractions, if the cast members want to push it, they can get these cycles along faster. But when they go slow and they kind of dwindle around you, that's when you start losing capacity. But it makes sense for Anna and Elsa. It's a good thing.
Number 6. This one actually just kind of really got me. Holy Diagon Alley Batman by Son of Anarchy. And basically, he says, I'm not a Universal fan, I'm not a Harry Potter fan, and I was blown away by Diagon Alley. And I'm hearing this a lot. I'm hearing this a lot from people who say, I have no interest in Universal, I have no interest in Harry Potter, but I did see Diagon Alley, and oh my God, it was unbelievable. And how Disney managed to do this in the course of 2 years.
You mean Universal?
Yeah, or Universal managed to build this in the course of 2 years. Which, we've been bringing up a lot lately, that it's taking Disney a lot longer. One of the, by contrast, you go back to the late 80s when Universal got the jump on Disney in terms of building Universal Studios. And Disney came to the game a little later with Hollywood Studios, but because they had Reedy Creek and their own ability to write their zoning and do all their permitting, they actually opened Hollywood Studios ahead of Universal. What happened? What happened? I mean, it's kind of crazy, but when I'm reading from hardcore Disney fans, stuff like this, for me, it gives me pause. It's got to be giving people a Disney pause. That people start, and if you read through that thread, there are people saying, you know what, I keep hearing this. I think I'm going to add a couple extra days at Universal on my next trip.
I can't believe I haven't been there yet.
It's the summer and I can't deal with the crowds. I just can't. I will get over it. Everybody's asking me, have you been there?
The heat's brutal too.
The heat. This has just been a.
I'll be honest though, if you are not so much interested in the Gringotts ride, it's really manageable in terms of the crowds. I would go at nighttime, so you're kind of beating the heat.
How long is Gringotts?
Oh, that's
queue?
Consistently 3 hours.
Yeah, it's been about 3 hours. give or take, depending on what time during the day it is. It might get a little more, but 3.
But they've done a really fantastic job of dispersing people in Diagon Alley itself. So if you just want to go around, walk around, see everything, go in the shops, those types of things, it's really manageable. Yeah. I think they did a fantastic job.
And the best part about it, actually, now that we've been there more and more times, visited about 2 or 3 times a week on busier weeks, I got to say the best thing's the new live entertainment they put in. They have a girl who sings, which I don't like her because she's sassy. But
I love her.
She's out of this world. And then they have a puppet show based on the tale of the 3 brothers. And it's just, I mean, it's live performances, something that Disney's shying away from, using automated voices and just plain soundtracks. Mm-hmm. And they should be worried about what they did there.
No, the woman singer's name is Celestina Warbeck. Broadway quality.
Really?
There's a couple actresses. One's a lot better than the other, but really good.
Well, this is what Son of Anarchy wrote. Got into a soft opening today. I'm going to do a full trip report when we get back, but my first reaction after picking my jaw up off the ground, honestly, was of sadness. I'm not a Potter fan at all. Saw the movies and didn't really care for them. But even I was blown away. How did Universal accomplish this in 2 years? It was mind-boggling. It convinced me more than ever that Disney truly has been phoning it in since at least 1998, which I do not agree with. Bizarre feeling, almost one of embarrassment. We'll be at Disney in 2 days, just hoping Seven Dwarfs Mine Train can somehow restore my faith. I do not believe Disney's been phoning it in since 1998.
No, look at Expedition Everest.
There's so much that we could point to. It's that we don't have that kind of time. But the point is well taken, that, Universal has raised the bar. And I said it before, we as the guests, the customers, the visitors, we're the ones that win here. We're the ones that win. We've got 2 juggernauts going at each other, trying to outdo one another, and we're the ones who benefit from it. So go ahead, guys. Go. Beat each other up. All right, number 5, accident on Pirates from Not Nothing. That was obviously the story we talked about a few weeks ago, about somebody getting their fingers cut off on Pirates of the Caribbean.
Just the upper skin.
Number 4, My Husband Left Me, Should I Cancel Our Trip? By M. Mickey. And this was a very serious post about this woman's husband had left her, and they had a trip paid in full for December. And she was heartbroken, and her kids were really looking forward. As he laughs, you laugh.
I'm not.
You know what? Karma's a bitch. Karma's a bitch. It's going to come back to haunt you.
I was looking at Sean and Corey.
I don't know what you're talking about. There was no audible good
Karma. Laughing at a poor woman whose husband left her.
It just sounded fake. I'm sure.
No, it's an act.
No, I know.
It's
I
real.
feel really bad for her.
And I don't know what I would do. I don't know. I can't say that, I wouldn't feel the exact same way if a relationship ended like that. And,
I guess the reason I laugh because people, there's no filter on the boards.
Right.
People will just post whatever. I mean, they will post about.
Okay, I don't want to characterize you. First of all, read it before you characterize it like that, because that's not what this was. This was somebody in pain and saying, what do I do? Do I cancel this trip? We've paid in full. Do I cancel this trip and disappoint my kids? Yeah. This was somebody reaching out looking for support. Yeah, so I don't, it's not like, what tampon should I pick? That I understand. That's oversharing.
Number 3, yeah.
But this, I thought actually, and people were very supportive. I thought there was a lot of really supportive stuff
and I think
on this thread. And I'm a little pissed off that people are sitting here laughing at this moment.
I'm not.
Making fun of it.
It's the fact that there is no filter. People would.
But that's not the case here.
Okay,
that's not the case here. I don't feel. Again, this woman's not oversharing. This woman, one of the things I love about the boards is it is a place. It is a community where you can go sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, and share stuff like this and find support. A mother with kids whose husband leaves her for a younger woman, and she reaches out for support, and she got some.
I would say I would go on a trip. That's what I would do.
So I wouldn't.
If I was opposite.
I'm not trying to categorize this as. I won't let it be categorized as oversharing. I think it's an example of sometimes what goes on the board that's good. But that was the number 4 thread. Number 3, official Frozen Summer Fun Tips thread. Love that, Tink. And this is all about the Frozen events going on at Hollywood Studios, tips.
There's a lot to keep
and
track
ideas.
of.
There is. That's the number 3 thread. Number 2, confirmation and email receipts are jokes. Beware, by Angel Luna. And apparently there was some confusion. She has a confirmation that says certain dates at a certain price. And then Disney is saying, when she goes online, it's saying a different date, 1 day less. And Disney's telling her your confirmation email doesn't matter, basically. And so there's some back and forth there. Interesting thread. But number 1, FastPass Plus basic info tips by Mesa Boy 2 again.
Yeah.
The number 1 thread on disboards.com for the month of July.
When did he show up on the number 1?
Oh, it's been pretty consistent.
Yeah.
It's been pretty consistent. He's the Jess of 2014. This has consistently been the number 1 thread.
Well, there's still a lot of unanswered questions as far as FastPass Plus goes, and I think people are using this as like a massive, massive resource because a lot of people still just don't know.
And he's done such a great job keeping it up and keeping information updated. And again, one of the things that I think are great about the boards is you got folks like Mesa Boy 2 that are taking the time to do this and share the information. Give his advice, and it's good advice. And I strongly recommend if you have questions about FastPass Plus, this is one of the places you should be going for info. Now, with all that said, I still don't have a poll for next week. I'll come up with one. Facebook.com/DisUnplugged. We'll put a poll up. And, that's what we're just going to do because I forgot to do one this week. So,
Okay.
That's just how it goes. All right, that is going to do it for this show. Coming up next, Dustin and Corey are going to give you tips, their top 5 tips on taking better photos and video when you are on vacation. That's going to do it for me. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back with you again next time with another edition of the Dis Unplugged. Thanks for being with us, folks. And remember, stay out of the damn lakes. Stay away from downtown Disney.